Hello, everybody. How are you? Where are we? This is new. This is interesting, isn't it? Yes! That's because this is what my new streaming outlook looks like. For those of you who actually follow me on Twitter, you've seen little inklings here and there of, of alerts I've worked on, the new logo, the new profile icon, everything, but I'm finally at a point where I think I have everything pretty much settled, and want to just do a quick blog, kind of almost recapping everything I've done, learned, and kind of a recap of the process, I guess. Because everyone who does streaming does things differently, and this one to show how I did mine, at least so far. For those that are paying attention, no, I have not technically done my first stream yet. I've done one or two kind of test recordings, but they use kind of the same settings just to make sure that's all good. I've done one or two like mini test streams for audio. But I plan on doing at least one or two more before I actually start streaming when season 23 starts next Friday. But I'll give all that information on like when I'm streaming, what games I'm streaming, how and when to expect me, blah 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 blah, at the end of the video. But yeah, so as you see, we're all just chatting because that's what we're doing right now. And you saw the transition, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and how all that looks. But for now, we're just gonna pop over to what's gonna be the Diablo 3 streaming session. So as you see, this is what the channel looks like with the new artwork, the new profile icon. I have all the links set up, and I have all the Twitch panel and information done. So this is the kind of theme and look I was going for. Had to start with this guy over here, figuring out what the hell the Dredscythe actually looks like, because if you couldn't tell by the name, part of it is scythe. Yes, I actually do legitimately need a scythe. It's just my interpretation of what one looks like. So that's the logo, and it starts out as actually this beautiful looking thing. Illustrator was kind to me when I was drawing this up, and it came out better than I thought it was. I was like, sure, simple, keep it good. Yeah, so all that's done, and all the social media platforms I'm using, so Twitch, Twitter, the YouTube channel is using what the website has now been kind of converted over, or at least I think I did. If I did, I did. If I didn't, I don't care. But the website itself, I will quickly go to that, has been updated to make it cleaner, simpler, fixed a few things, added all the social media links up there. Yes, there actually is a Discord now. So that's why the articles, they look better. And also, I don't have to worry about the stupid intro images anymore. And because most of the time, I'm just doing videos now. Yeah, I learned, even with the development hell articles, I realized I like to do a lot of preliminary typing and outlining, but at the end of the day, I think the video is the way I deliver everything. So I'm just not worried about that so much. So when you click in here, you get a brief little boilerplate description, you get timestamps and everything, and you can watch it on YouTube. So the blog, which I backlogged all the missing content too on the website, so that was one of the myriad of things I had to do. So I made my 2010 video part of my blog series, and the 4-part Immortal Alpha feedback was put there too, and I actually updated the contact form to make it more usable, and hopefully don't get as much spam as I've been getting, but who knows, we'll see. The robots will tell me, or they won't. So with that, we are going to move on to a few of the programs that I'm using, because a brief little aside before we get there. You should expect this from me. In order to go one step forward, we have to go one step back. maybe one step back, two steps forward. Who does? Whenever I would do branding, because that's technically what I'm doing when I do someone's social media along with their Twitch, to give them a cohesive look, that's essentially branding. Whether you call it that or not, I mean, that's what it is. It was a lot of work because, like, you know, you have people's Facebook header and Twitter image. You have people's YouTube header and profile image. And then when you get to same thing for any other ones. And then when you get to Twitch actually has a lot more because you have your Twitch header, your Twitch profile, your Twitch offline image, and then your panels. And as you see down here, you can have your fancy big ones, your regular small ones, or advertisement ones in there. So they can be all unique shapes and designs when you get to that point. So that was always a lot of work, and I thought that was like 100% of the job, or at least it was 100% of the job that I was ever asked to do. But now that I'm doing, and I kind of made this a goal too, was to try to do as much of the customization and custom work for my channel as I could, and try to do everything from scratch, because those are two individual variables. You can do everything yourself, but you can use elements that are pre-made, or you do a whole bunch of custom work with everything you created. And the only two elements that I used that I did not create were on screen. You see this black leathery texture, and you may be hearing my dog in the background too. It's just a stock thing I got off the web, and we'll do a quick little transition back to the startup. Though that video of the dots moving from left to right, and then they go from right to left, kind of like pacing back and forth in a loop, that was found on a stock video website. Those are the only two elements, as I say hello to you again. They were the only two elements that I got from the internet. Everything else I created. So the logo, those ribbons were just, you know, really good. These ribbons over here on the side, and you see them elsewhere in like the name and over here, were all done by me. Even the alerts, the transition, and the go live Twitter deal. So since I brought them up, doing alerts is interesting. It was the first time with Sony Vegas and a new program I learned called DaVinci Resolve. I was dealing with alpha layers and rendering out those. So the first thing I learned how to do with DaVinci Resolve is making a basic follower alert. Now this gray you see is the alpha layer, so you would see through that when it would pop up on on the stream. So I followed the tutorial exactly to make this follower one, you know, just to figure out like, how do I do it? What are the settings like in this program? Because it's also node-based programming instead of like doing everything through settings or code. So it's really trippy, but it's really cool at the end of the day because it allows you to move things and reconnect things really quickly. So if you think you're on the right path, you'll start seeing it built, and then you'll start switching things out, and you eventually get to the right spot. It allows for a lot of fun playing around to try to get what you want, and I do a lot of that with not only the alert I wanted to do, but also build off of what I did with my alert, which I'll show you just after this, with my Twitter go live image that I created. So we will exit out of this, and we will go over to what I created for my alert. Now, I just like this. We're gonna have it on autoplay. Will it actually play? No, it's gonna freak out because we're streaming. It's gonna want to screw up. So we'll just do the symbol dry drew. So it was interesting making the shape from nothing, getting that separation between the inside part and the outside border, and then figuring out how to do that counterclockwise separation where you see it appear, spins around twice, and as you see right now, it closes up, and then that's the end of the alert and it fades out. It was all just building on what the first tutorial video that got me that original good but plain new follower alert, using that second tutorial to get me to this point. And then if we close out here, it leapfrogging from the alerts to the actual go live image. That's what this looks like. So I kept the same theme, I just made it a little bigger so it can hold just a name, now live, as well as having the logo back there, which inserting an image in DaVinci Resolve could be made a little bit easier, or at least a little bit more immediate proof. But I will claim 100% ignorance because, as I said, I've heard of this program, but I have not started using it to this degree at all until like 2 weeks ago. So I know there's definitely some noob user error thing going on there. But as you see, it's simple. The gap, it comes out, it's much bigger, so it catches your eye, spins around twice just like the alert, and then it closes. So this will be perfect for Twitter. It won't be intrusive. It won't be like bam. It's not like going to be like comic book, like flashes of neon, yellow, green, and red just to catch your eye. Then you're like, unfollow. This is annoying. But yeah, so just going through that process to learn with all that. And just to show you what the actual program looks like, this is what Resolve looks like. And like I said, the whole node-based program down here, if I zoom in, you see like polygon, background, swipe. So like the swipe is actually, as I go, that's controlling the disappearing part of the outline. And the crazy thing is that you see it go, but the reason why that works is because it was weird. This background is actually made up of like basically separate shapes. And I had to do 2 of these swipes and have them be the same exact deal, because the rectangle that cuts through here is separate from the rhombus. Geometry. And one of these swipes, this swipe here, is actually controlling everything around the rhombus outline, and then the other swipe is taking care of the rectangle outline, and they have to act in unison for it to actually look like it's the same. So tricks and trades, and that was interesting, figuring out which one of these polygons or rectangles I had to separate out from the main tree you see over here, make them their own thing, and then merge it all together, then do the bubbling effect on the background, then merge it together, add in the actual background image here, then add in the text, merge it together. It was crazy, but it all worked out, and I was able to get it to a state where I can actually put it on Twitter, because after converting it, it's like a 225 kilobyte file. It's absurd. So learning DaVinci has been pretty cool. It's one of those things, when you get what you want, you feel like you achieve something, but until that point, you're like constantly like switching those nodes around and reconnecting them. Like, am I just connecting them wrong? Like, what am I doing? And again, that like not knowing a program, it kind of comes in as well. So the last big thing that I had to do is I wanted to do my own custom transition. I wanted it to be something simple but had the logo on it, and my first attempt was actually really solid. I liked it. As you see right here, it has what is really my profile icon. It kind of comes in from the top, slides out, kind of acts as like a lock. It stabilizes, and then everything kind of, after closing, everything opens. And yes, it has an alpha layer. It works out well. But it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I had a much different vision, but I just didn't feel I knew how to do it. And usually this is like what happens when I get to like those, like I'm 90% of the way there on a given idea, but I can't get the last 10%. And usually with those kind of projects, I kind of either I manage to get to the 100% or I just shelve it as like, well, I learned what I learned from it. I'll take what I have and keep it as like stock images, audio, video, whatever. So if I feel like using it in a different project, I have it. So I did that and I was going to use it. And then I was surfing around the web and I found a free set of transitions. It came with the audio files separate. It came with versions with or without sound. So I found this, which should look familiar to earlier when you saw the transition I have. It's the same basic deal. Red rhombuses and lines going over basically dark gray background. It comes together, it goes apart. But the problem was, like, this is good, but it's plain, it's generic. It looks like I got it from somewhere, and I wanted to edit it. But unfortunately, when you take a video, even if it has an alpha layer baked in, so when you do the transition, you see the parts, you see basically the kind of like getting like comes together, and it, like space in between my fingers you would still see until everything locks together, and then as everything separates you would see the new scene. Even with this having the appropriate alpha layer, putting that into Vegas, adding the logo, tracking the logo, and then re-rendering it out with the same alpha layer, it doesn't maintain it. So it's something you can only do in the source file. So after learning that, I was like, all right, I'll just use this generic one because it's at least what I wanted. You know, the shapes, the appropriate speed and everything. Has a little bit of sound to it. It's not intrusive. I'll use that for now. But there was something kicking like, could I do this in Resolve? And for now, the answer is no. I do not know how to do basic shapes in Resolve without like feeling like I want to tear my hair out trying to get it to work. Eventually in the future, maybe, but right now it was too much. So I went back to Vegas, and I went back to Photoshop, Illustrator, and Vegas. I had to use all three programs to take each one of those lines or like rhombuses or like the background splits. Had to make them each as individual elements and then figure out where they were for their start X and Y position, and then I had to figure out what the offset was. That's why when all the pieces came in, they maintained a 45-degree track from start to finish. But also, I wanted to make sure that they came in from the angle, stopped for however long I wanted to stop, and then went out. So that small period of stop is when the actual switching of the scenes can happen, because you need to get that in there. So I had to do all the red stripes coming through, and then the background elements going through, and I had to work with negative and positive offsets and negative math. Negative math sucks, even with Excel. So with all that said and done, that's why you've seen this one, and it's exactly what I wanted. And since I was able to do it, I was able to put a little bit gradient on the red and on the gray and black stripes on the background, and I was able to get everything to go the direction I wanted it to. Like for instance, everything on the pre-made one went the inverse. Everything was going from bottom to top. On mine, I want everything to go from top to bottom, or at least the red stripe that was coming down with my logo. So this is a project that I beat my head over with a baseball bat, metaphorically, of course, almost literally, over the course of like 3 or 4 days to try to get it to work, and doing it to where it got this all done, all rendered with the alpha layer, to the point where I was able to convert it to a WebM file so it doesn't tax the computer, which I'm going to touch on that too in a little bit. Too much when I do the transition was excellent, except for the fact that this whole project took about 6 hours to do all the images, figure out the tracking on the Excel, the start, the middle, get all the elements in, make sure that they were all working, you know, from start, center, stop, and then playing around. So that's why they would come in at different intervals, so it looked a little bit more dynamic, and then rendering it out and then figuring out the converting for the WebM took 6 hours. Yeah, I didn't go to bed until like 4:30 in the morning that night, and that was a school night too. So yeah, that sucked next morning. But looking at this, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna use this, regardless of how much I may be like, because it's mine. I made it, and I went up till 4 o'clock in the morning for it. And a brief thing to touch is, even with the alerts, backtracking a little bit, I even came up with custom sounds. So, for instance, when someone donates money, if someone is so kind, little sinister laugh, makes you think of goblins, treasure goblins, you know, fun stuff. If someone raids, just got some guys go hoo, 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 and then a crowd, and faded it all together. And then this one is the how old are you test. If you know what this is, you get why this is the host one. If you don't get it, you're too young. It's like I said, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you're too young. Or your snow days sucked as a kid. Anyways, so that's pretty much all of that. So yeah, learning all those new programs, learning how to do new things. Even if I stream with the beautiful new computer that's sitting off to the side. Yeah. I'll make a long story short. I've been trying to get a new computer. I've been thinking about getting a new computer for the last like 4 to 5 years easily, because the computer that's sitting behind me, my old one, I got when I first started my job that I just celebrated my 13th year anniversary with. Granted, some of the parts have been upgraded, but they were upgraded like 6-7 years ago. So if I was going to upgrade, I was going to upgrade big. So that's why I don't have to worry about that for upgrading again for at least another 3 to 5 years at minimum. So I got a pre-built power spec from Micro Center, their G900, and it's a powerhouse. It's scary, but it's also cool because it's the first time I've had an SSD anything, and it has a Ryzen 9 5900X in it. Also a NVIDIA and a Zeus 3070 in it. So yeah, this has been quite the upgrade. Also, why you see Windows 10 on the desktop and not the old Windows 7 compared to my other videos right now. So yeah, just wanted to briefly note that. So because of the computer and learning all these programs, doing all this stuff, regardless of how much I stream, I'll be able to take with me to new projects, or for other people who are streamers in the Diablo 3 community and the greater, and help them out. It's enabled me to finally kind of join the streamer club, you could say. So that's why I've updated the Twitch page, my YouTube, the website, as well as, I don't want to forget because I have it brought up, is I built a Discord server and got some fellas that I've talked about before in here already. And this is simple Discord. I didn't want to bring it up with bloat. So the games is literally all Diablo games and then all the other games, voice channels, two little simple dimple. Yeah, words. It's Friday, folks. Forgive me. Two simple voice chats, AFK, and then my private one, which I'll use while streaming. So any one of my guys want to pop in while we're playing, especially season start, they'll be in there. Or if anyone else wants to, I could trust you, I'll bring you in. And then, just simple lobby channels, things you see in everyone else's Discord, and then the server ones, welcome, rules, announcements, go live, content. All very easy to understand channels, and I just want to make sure there's don't bloat there. So this is up and going, so I have to do fine tweak, maybe add a couple more rules, and just finalize all the rules and permissions and everything, just to keep everything simple, but make sure, in the beginning it's pretty much just going to be myself, maybe 1 or 2 others for modding, so I want to make it as easy as possible as well. But other than that, I guess I could just touch on, since I'm talking about streaming, everything I've learned, when am I going to stream? What am I going to stream? How long am I going to stream? So the plan right now is that my first real stream will be with the season opener, and that'll be next Friday on April 2nd. So I'll stream that the whole first night, however long that is, for the season opener. Probably start around half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour before the actual season goes live. And then probably stream that following Saturday night as well as Sunday night. And then from that point going forward, the plan is to stream Friday and Sunday nights, starting at around 9 for an hour or 2. And it's just so I can start to get used to, streaming itself, paying attention to chat, get comfortable with the scenes. I have hotkeys set up, but, get that muscle memory in for hotkeys as well as the game itself. And just get there. And then as I get more comfortable, I may throw in one stream during the week. But I don't want to overdo it because I have a wife, I have a kid, and I'm doing things at night just so I'm not interfering with our nighttime routines and just having ourselves running ragged or myself running ragged, just trying to get everything done so I can just be up here 10 minutes after I get done after a long day during the week, just to stream for an hour or 2. I'm doing this because I want to do it, kind of give something back to the community, whatever that actually is yet to be determined. But I'm not aiming for this to be anything other than just me casually streaming for the sake of casually streaming. I mean, if I get affiliate, that would be cool, but I'm not aiming to get anywhere near partner. I'm not aiming to make that a goal by any means, because that would require, I think, more effort than I could give, or it would take a lot away from something else. And I think at that point I would stretch myself too thin, and then I would just stop. So I want to keep myself within guardrails. You're traveling down the highway, there's guardrails there. Not really supposed to hit them, but they'll let you know, you're straying too far, of course. Don't hit into me too hard, though. Otherwise, you'll just stop. Something like that. But yeah, so it'll be mainly looking out Fridays and Sundays, starting at around 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And I'll be primarily streaming Diablo 3 at the beginning, especially with it being a season start. And then when new Diablo Immortal Alpha testings come around, I'll definitely do that. Those will actually have really good opportunities to have 1 to 2 hour play bonus streams during the week at night, because I have the Dongle of Doom over here that Apple loves to charge $50 for. Fuck them. And I have everything set up for that as I go over to the lovely Immortal scene. Yeah. So, yeah, so all that's set up and waiting to go. And then with Fall Guys Season 4 out, which is really cool with its squad mode and the also lovely Kill Everyone game Among Us potentially being a thing when enough people get together. Those two variety games may cause for a bonus stream here or there. So make sure you follow and or like the channel, and you follow me on Twitter, because I'll definitely use that go live video when I go live, as well as, you know, just generally, if you have notifications and you follow the channel, you'll be notified that way. Yeah. So other than that, just wanted to kind of show what I've learned coming up with all the alerts and all this other business, learning OBS. Oh god, that in itself has been an adventure. But yeah, so doing alerts, transitions, OBS itself, learning a new program to do all that stuff, learning some new things in Vegas too, a program I've used for years and still learning some new stuff in there, always learning new things with Photoshop and Illustrator. I mean, it's been a cool ride. So, as I look over at a doggy, she wants a walk, but I'm not going to give her one because she had a walk an hour ago. Yeah, that's it for now. So, hopefully I catch you between now and the season start. There may be 1 or 2 quick test streams for audio settings between now and then. But if not, I'll catch you there if you stop on by. And I'll talk to you later. Have a good one, folks.